Bible Talk Wednesday.
How did you watch Star Wars The Clone Wars?
This is Bible Talk. With your host, Leader, the only one.
Your first loser.
I am closer to be better, to be the best, okay? So cut me some slack.
John Fumbly.
Bubba Fett. Attack mode.
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode.
Yep,
Attack mode.
yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
I'm a man. I fix things. Cook barbecue and fix things.
This is Bible Talk.
Well, fam, what's up, y'all? Welcome, everybody. We're a few minutes late. I apologize. My bad. But here we are, which is good. Glad to be back, and glad to be back full force, because we were one man short. Welcome, everybody. My name is Literally the Only One, with the co-host of the show, Mr. Adrian Indolos. What's up, AI? How are you doing, baby?
What's up? I'm good. How are you, leader?
Good to have you back, baby. Good to have you back. We
Good
missed
to be
you.
back.
For sure. The duo, the one and only John's Fumbly. What's up, John? How are you, baby?
What up? I'm
What
great.
up, what up?
Can we
Holla,
just all
holla.
appreciate Adrian's magnificent facial hair, though? Like,
Dude,
look at
it
it. Just
is.
like, look
It
at
is
that
next
clean.
level,
Look, it's
bro.
thick. Like,
Yeah.
oh, bro, yes.
Yeah. It's goals right there, bro. Are you
Healthy.
kidding me?
That's some healthy
I mean,
facial hair right there.
looking excellent. No wonder why he's gonna get married pretty soon.
Mm-hmm,
Hey.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. Speaking of
59
which,
days.
I was
59.
like about to ask what's the count here, bro?
Countdown is 59 days, and I'm still 0 for 6 on my groomsmen to get fittings for their suits.
No.
Later.
That's gonna change sooner rather than later, bro. Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay.
That's fine.
It's fine. Don't stress about it. You can stress about it. Don't stress about it. You'll be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. We're excited to be here. It's a Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday. And mind you, just to let you guys know what this is, it's a group of guys, just 3, right? There's boys over here. Where we get together and we get to talk about the Bible, something that we're super passionate about. We get to share with you. We like to see you in the comments and see your questions and kind of interact with you. So if you're out there, say hi. You're behind the chat. If you have questions, shoot. One thing that we don't do here, though, is fight you, bro. So we won't fight you. We won't do that. We won't argue with you. That will leave up to Discord, right? Discord's the place to be if you ever want to be out there where we get to chat and talk and hang out afterwards and get a little deeper into conversation sometimes. That's the place to do it. Also, we pray all together after the show. So if you want to join us in prayer, you can always do that, which is pretty sick. And then that's kind of it. So welcome, whatever this is, podcast, live show, live stream, Bible show, Bible talk, Bible, whatever this is, welcome. We welcome you because we like having you here. And before we get started, we always do this because we're living in a world that is a little bit tough out there right now. One thing after another. We thought COVID was the thing. Now we have a war in Eastern Europe. Whatever inflation is going up. I mean, gas prices are nuts. I mean, everything's just tough, right? And so we like to go over some good news because we don't need to talk about the bad when God is too good. Amen to that, Phyllis. And so let's get into some good news. I want to get started actually this time, if you boys don't mind. I am super excited. I told this to John maybe a couple weeks ago. I was like, hey John, I really want to go to Houston for the LCA Springs Championship, especially if 100 Thieves makes the finals. And 100 Thieves made the finals, so they're going to be there playing the grand finals, and your boy is going. So I am super pumped to be in the Energy Stadium in Houston watching some League of Legends live with my boys in the grand finals. That's going to be super epic. That's happening this weekend. I'm pumped. I cannot wait to be there. Okay, top that, you boys. What you got for us, Adrian?
I got nothing compared to that.
Except you're about to be married, though.
I mean,
thing.
that is pretty exciting, and I guess I'm gonna share this again next week. But my batch party trip is coming up in 2 weekends from now, so not this coming weekend, but the following
one
weekend
after.
So yeah, so I'm excited for that, and I guess it's a bit of good news, and just here, just plugging along.
Nice, and you're here, which is great, and you're healthy. Seems
and
like.
I'm here, right? So yeah, no, last week was rough. I was right. It was like 82 degrees outside, and I was in full sweats underneath the blankets with like 102 fever, and just like I was miserable last week. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like a flu or whatever, but I had every intention of being on the show, and then I slept all day, and at 7:30. I was like, I my whole body was just like aching. Like it felt like I had like a full body workout, like to an intense level. Like all my muscles were aching. I don't know what's going on, but it was not. I was not fit to be on the show, or else you would just see me like in a hood, in a blanket, and just coughing into the microphone. So I don't know if that would make for a good podcast.
Okay, John, what about you, man? How are you? How are things? Good news.
Good. I was sick the past 2 days.
Also?
Still am a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It wasn't that, though. It was like I was just super dizzy. Like I couldn't move at all without getting dizzy.
Vertigo, maybe? Yeah, vertigo.
I've never had it before, but I think it was either vertigo or just extreme exhaustion, just because a couple days before I was very busy with work and almost passed out. So because I had to do
you need to sleep, bro. You also get home and play video games versus sleeping. That you gotta
excuse me. Okay, I go to sleep at midnight. All right, and I wake up at 11 the next day. Okay, so that's a full 13,000 hours of sleep.
Okay, right? Got it.
If anything, I need to sleep less. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
My bad.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself, girl. Okay.
Take that back. I take that back.
No, that's actually something me and my wife are working on, though. It's like we just sleep for like 10 hours for no reason whatsoever.
That's not bad, though. You reset, the body resets, though, which is nice.
10 hours
not bad.
Is too much.
Yeah, 10 hours is a lot.
Yeah.
I wake up with a headache if it's that much. If it's like 8.5 or more, it's rough. Feel like it was worse.
I'm just so comfy, like it's just, there's nothing better than just laying in bed, and you'll get this, Adrian. Okay, you'll get it eventually when you get married. Okay, but there's nothing better than waking up next to a beautiful woman and wondering where your wife is at. Just being like, man, this is a disastrous situation. I have to see where my wife went. I'm just kidding. No, she's great.
I wonder if Lauren's right next to John right now.
Yeah.
She's not hearing me. She's watching a political political podcast.
Okay.
So she's doing that.
That's fine. Gotcha. So she's not listening to you, admit your infidelities on live stream.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, thank God. She'll find out in a couple of years once we have kids.
Well, welcome everybody. This is the show. This is what we do. So I'm glad that you guys are here. Thank you guys for being here. Say hi in the chat if you're there. I can see some of you all out there. Just drop a hi or something. Let us know that you're here. We're gonna get started here shortly. So actually let's just jump right into it. But before that, I gotta do a formal intro because rather than later, this show's hopefully gonna be in Spotify, iTunes, and some other places. And so I gotta I get a formal intro, so without further ado, let's get it. Welcome, everybody. My name is Leader the Only One. I'm your host with the most, doing the announcements for Bible Talk. This is where'd my episode go? This is episode 22 of season 2, and we're starting a series called The Word. Today, we're going to be going through the beginning of the word, and it's super exciting. But before we get into that, let me introduce you guys, my guys. To my right, which you guys cannot see, but to my left, to my right, whatever this is, my duo, the one and only, John's Fumbly. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing great. I don't have a voice commentator. I'm sorry, like a radio host from the 50s.
Yeah, you gotta work on it. You gotta work on it.
Yeah. Disgusting.
It just comes out of this deep here from the heart that it's out there. It's coming out with passion.
From the diaphragm.
Yes, right here.
Yeah.
You gotta practice it. Okay, what are your socials, man? Socials.
532 59 72 83.
Well, I need to write this down.
So
I also need your date of birth and the last 4 digits of your
12/30 54.
Nice.
I'm younger than I look. No, this is John's Fumbly, wherever.
The co-star of the show, Adrian in the Lows. What's up, baby?
What's up?
Tags, bro. Tags. What you got? Social media.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, outside of this podcast, I run a full photography business. You can find me at adrianindelos.com. That's ADREANINDOLOS.com. And you can find me on the TikTok and the Instagram at Adrian, ADREAN_I. And I also have a dedicated text line. If you want to reach out to me, if you have any photography questions, inquiries, or if you have any prayer requests that you want to talk about privately, or if you have any personal questions, that text line is 214-865-8348. Again, that's Adrian at 214-865-8348.
I got a question. Can we befriend you through text?
Can you defriend me?
No, befriend you. Meaning, try to get your friendship going. Okay, that's cool. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I love friends.
Okay, good. I'll
Friends
do that
are
too.
awesome.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, welcome everybody to the show. We're about to jump in. We're gonna do a recap real quick of our last year's, which is amazing. I'll do the recap. Adrian was out a few episodes. Normally Adrian does them, and he'll get back to that as soon as he gets married and his life goes back to normal. He'll do this, but I'll do the recap for us, which is okay. We did 7 deep episodes on love, bro. We talk about everything. We talk about what love is, what it means, how God is love, how there's sacrificial love, how there's love between married people, how there's love between one another, love between friends, right? As 6 friends, there's love that is closer between friends, that is closer than a brother. Like all kinds of love. So it was a pretty epic series. I highly encourage you guys to go back there and listen to it if you haven't. And that was a blast. And today we're jumping into a new series. It's going to be a 3-episode series that is very, very deep. It's going to be complicated. So we hope that you guys kind of stick with us. But we're going to talk about the word as stated in John 1:1. So we're going to start right there. Are we ready, John, to start? Are we ready to roll, baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm always rolling. I've been gaining weight just for that.
Boom, done. You got to roll up and down, back and forth,
just like that
downhill.
From Willy Wonka.
Very good. Excellent. I'm glad that you're taking this very serious because you should.
Absolutely. I always do.
Before we get into this, shout out to eSword is the app that we use. eSword. There's no best way to put it than eSword is amazing. And so shout out to them. It's a free app that you can utilize, and we use it all the time for this, where we get to read, especially, and we're going to be using it a ton for this series, where we get to read the original Hebrew, Greek, and Aramees for some specific words. And also it has access to all these other Bibles versions that are really cool. I read on ISV because English is my second language. ISV is a lot easier for me to read, but you can read on whichever version you want. So shout out to them. They're awesome. They have a pro version that is like $10. I pay it 10 once, like forever. But you don't have to pay a month or anything. It's just one time. I do that because they put so much work into this, and it's so cool. You don't have to. You can get it for free. Shout out to them. Okay, John 1-1.
We-
Mr. John. Yes, sir.
Wait, we got our first question of the day.
Okay, we have a question already. Very good. Oh, did I put it up? I didn't put it up. Boom. How would one pick a god/religion? I'm serious and not trolling. There are so many choices. Oh, that's a phenomenal question. Who feels like answering this one, boys?
I don't. Well, I mean, I don't really know enough about the person to really give an idea of that. I mean, obviously,
Yep.
I'm partial to Christianity.
For sure.
Because it is that's my belief. I don't know. I guess small sales pitch. If you would like a religion where the God does all the work, and you simply have to be in a relationship with and reap all the benefits, then Christianity's for you, baby.
It's interesting how you put it. I believe that it's not about choosing a religion. It's about God had already made you and chosen you. It's about you accepting Him, and there's no need to put the name religion on that side there, Kyle. That's just my opinion. It's just I think where we get all tangled out and messed up is in our search for that choice, and that has nothing to do with anything other than ourselves. And so I can tell you, He created us already. He's destined us to be amazing with Him. We just gotta grab it and take it. It doesn't matter. Again, it's pretty cool when Adrian first joined us. Was more of a Catholic, I guess, or Catholic background, and maybe he's going through a little bit of a transformation. Now he's Christian. To me, it means nothing. He was an amazing human being and an amazing brother in Christ, an amazing son of God, and an amazing creation of God before as a Catholic, and he still is as a Christian or whatever he wants to call himself. So I think the word religion and all that stuff, it's almost unnecessary. It's more about allowing God in your life and then you experiencing it and see for yourself what it's like. So that's what I would say. I don't know.
And then my
Adrian?
2 cents on it, Kyle, is in my study of the world religions, right? And I'm no expert in Hinduism, I'm no expert in Buddhism, but I have, read into them and some of the other Judaism, right? For the Jewish people, our Jewish friends, shout out, out there and stuff like that. And there is a commonality in a lot of the world religions, right? And so I believe, and this is just my personal belief, I'm sure Leader and John kind of feel the same way, that there is only one true God. And in different parts of the world, he has different names. Um, and for some of our polytheistic friends who believe in, multiple gods, I would rather, like, I keep all of my information in one place, right? My debit card, my phone, everything is in one. So I'd rather, have one thing than have to carry like multiple things, right? Back in the day when you used to have like a wallet and cash and, a phone, right? So many different things to keep track of. I'd rather carry one thing. And so for me personally, I would rather have one God that I can call my God, who is the God. And as John said, it's a, very easy, relationship where as long as you abide by his laws and just are a good human being, then he takes care of you and the rest of his people. And he like I said, he's called by many names depending on which part of the world that you live in. But there is only one true God. And as far as like religion, Leader kind of talked about it, how like, I was Catholic growing up and now I'm a, born again Christian. But like it's all in the practice, but there is only one God and we call him, God.
Yahweh.
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 Yahweh. So, and it's funny because I don't know if you've read other stuff like the Quran or other religion documents out there, Kyle. A lot of them reference this same God. It's just I agree. I think where religions differentiate is there's especially an additional book made by humans to tag along the religion. I'll give you a few examples. Mormons, they follow the Bible, but then they're like, not our jam, so we'll do our own book, right? But it derives from the Bible. You got the Muslims who have the Old Testament completely, which is the Bible, but they're like, we need our Quran, we need our own thing, right? And so it's pretty interesting because a lot of the religions derive from the Bible, whatever you want to call that. Christianity, and the Bible is never a name. It's called the church. That's all it is. There's no tags, there's no names, there's no anything. And so I think us trying to tag everything has been a little almost unnecessary. But really cool, dude. Excellent question. So, by the way, stick to the show because we're gonna dive deep into who God is. Literally today and the next two episodes, which are next 2 Wednesdays, is literally that. So we're gonna dive into this one God or the God that we all believed in. So if you want to find out a little bit more, you're literally probably in the best episode to do so. So if you keep the questions coming if you feel like it, Kyle. And welcome to the show, by the way, man. Really appreciate that you're here.
Yeah, great question.
Excellent question. Okay, John, get us going, man. John 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
So this is what we're going to be dissecting, and Kyle, for you to know, because this is very interesting, right? You read this, and this is so weird to read. You have beginning, then you have a past tense, but at the same time, a ownership kind of thing, and then you have only the past tense. So this is super, super interesting. It's one of those verses that is like, man, what was John smoking that day? Shout out to 420. I'm sorry, but terrible joke.
Hey.
Leader, what are you doing messing all this show up? Leader, get out of here.
My bad, boys. My bad. Okay. This is what we're gonna be studying because
Smoking the
it's
devil's
important.
lettuce.
Yeah, it's it's really important to discern who God is, man, and the word. And so, by the way, this, and again using eSword here, the word that we're going to study is logos. This is super, super important because logos identifies or is part of the identity of God Himself, Christ, and the Spirit. Okay, and as you can see here, I'm blowing it up here for you guys. Boom. It comes from Lego, which is not the Legos that we build. And it's literally something said, by implication, a topic, also reasoning, which is really important. We're going to go through that. A motive, computation. But this is it, right? The divine expression that is Christ to account, to accuse, to communicate, so on and so forth. So there's, again, the reason why we read this is because Greek is such a rich language that words describe a lot more than what we do in English. So this is really important. So we're going to dive straight into this. There's a lot in here, and this is what our series is going to be about. It's going to be about this verse. Okay, are we ready, boys, to jump into this and kind of get going into this specific tricky stuff? We do be ready? We do be ready.
I do be ready.
We do be ready. Let's jump right into it and let's start reading. Genesis 1, which is the beginning, right? Genesis, the beginning of the Bible. We're going to read verses 1 through 7. Just, we can read the whole creation, but we have so much to talk about that we're not going to do that. But we're going to give you guys a little spiel of the creation. Go for it, John.
Wait, what are we reading? Verse
John, Genesis 1 through 7.
The very first page of the Bible.
Yes, the very first one.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from waters." And God made the expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse, and it was so.
So let's get into it. But Kyle, let's answer your question first. I think you have another very good question. Give you a little bit of my background. My family, I have two brothers.
Peter, you should read the question for those who are listening later on.
I apologize. Question for all three of you. Did you discover this on your own, or were you raised with your current beliefs? I come from a family that before me, my two brothers were raised in a completely different way, non-religious. a lot of things were off in my family, and a ton of troubles. And then I was born, and then they changed into, they kind of converted, I guess, into Christianity. So I was raised, you could say, the family was kind of both ways, nothing and then Christianity, and I was more into the Christianity side of things. But I didn't make a decision to become Christian until I was 11. I need to be clear on that. I was not a Christian until I was 11, which is really important. You guys, how about you guys? You were completely Catholic, right, Adrian, or your family,
Um,
or
so yeah, so no, I grew up Catholic. I was raised Catholic. And just to kind of fill in for, to avoid any common misnomers. So like Catholicism was the OG Christianity, right? We draw our roots all the way from Saint Peter at the very beginning. And we so I don't, because anyway, okay, I'm gonna not go on that tangent, but I grew up, believing in this stuff, but I chose to believe it, Kyle. So that's the important thing, right? So like I went through life and I went through, a lot of self-discovery, not just like in my religious and faith life, but like just discovering like who I am. And then eventually like I found it to be not just like my truth, but the truth that really helped saved me from, making a lot of very bad decisions. So my life could have been in a completely different area. I could have gone in a completely darker route if I hadn't chosen, this truth for myself. And so,
Mhm.
like, yes, I grew up with it. It was kind of spoon fed, but then, I want to say in my early 20s, I decided to actually choose this life, and
Mhm.
kind of move forward from there.
I think, John, you were raised in it completely, right? You're the one that actually was raised in. And
Yeah, yeah. So my grandfather was a pastor. My whole family was very devout with Protestant Christian. Um, and so I accepted Christ at a very young age, like around maybe 9 or 10. And then it was just kind of like I just was Christian, right? Like I didn't really think about it, didn't really take into account what it meant. Um, and then around the age of 16 or 17, I started really questioning whether I wanted to be a Christian or not.
Mhm.
And that was kind of when I started taking account of like what I wanted, whether I wanted to be Christian or not. And I didn't really make a choice to be like fully committed to Christianity, probably until I was around 18 or 19. It just made some bad choices in my life and whatnot. And I found myself on the floor of my apartment, like hundreds of miles away from my family, crying on the floor, begging for Christ to save me from the predicament I found myself in. So yeah, I was raised with it. I think that there was a foundation there that I kind of fell back onto when I'd decided not to be a Christian. Um, and kind of in that same sense, I don't think I ever really stopped being a Christian. I think it was always kind of there, but I never really committed to it until later on.
It's
So
interesting. It's a good question because I feel like I grew up playing soccer. That's what my
mhm.
family put me in, and I come from Mexico. But I play tennis today. It doesn't necessarily like does a thing for you. But what's pretty cool is, for instance, me, if I was trying to play soccer today, I'm pretty decent at it, which is
Mhm.
awesome. So I think being exposed is a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
That
well,
doesn't mean absolutely anything.
you have to think though, right?
Absolutely
So
anything.
like if everyone who was raised Christian was tricked into being Christian, then everyone would still be a Christian, right? Like
Yes.
I have tons of friends who were raised
Since church
Christian
started, yeah,
who chose not to be
they're
Christian,
not. Yep.
right? So just because I chose Christianity because I was raised in it doesn't mean that it wasn't my choice or that
A
I was
given.
coaxed into it, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's important. You have to choose, Kyle. This is super
yeah,
important. You
it's your own
have to choose.
choice. Yes.
Okay. Keep in common, Kyle. We love you for that. You're amazing, dude. Welcome
What
to
do
the
you
show.
think? What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think? That would be a good question to
What's
ask
your
you.
perspective on that?
And while you answer, we're gonna dive into this because it's really important. As we read in John 1:1, in the beginning was the word, and that's what we're dissecting today. Past tense, and in the beginning, right, was the word. So let's talk about time first for a second, boys. Um, like, can anybody explain when things started? Everything. Like, can we pinpoint and go, you know, 6,000 years ago or 6 million or 10 million years ago, the earth was created, and so that's the beginning of everything? Can we do that? Do you guys even know? I mean, this is a thing
it
that is
has to.
complicated,
So
right?
by the laws of physics, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens
Yeah.
and the earth. So that would have meant that He created gravity and space at that time.
There's on that
And
date,
gravity and
right?
space can't be
Matter.
independent from
Yeah.
independent from time. Time is a
Sure.
part of gravity and space.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we all agree with that. This had a date, right?
Mhm.
Age 0, day 0, second 1, right? But assuming that that's correct, how will then would work with the fact that God was already there, though, right? Because there's no way that He can create this at the same time that He's created.
Mhm.
Trick question. So will God be timeless then, or like what are your thoughts on this? I mean, it's just trickier, right? What does this mean? That means that He was there. How long has He been there for? Um, what is this like a project of it? Like, I don't know. I got tons of questions. So how do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about God being there before creation, time wise? It's talking about time specifically.
Well, for me, I mean, so I do believe that God is so powerful that He does exist out of time and out of the laws of physics, because that's just how powerful He is. And for me, I like the visual. I love kind of the I know what's the word I'm looking for, but yeah, we'll call it like the visual of like God being the author of the universe, and literally what in the beginning, right, when He starts to create the universe and the earth and everything, it's literally just like the first stroke of the pen is when like the first thing He says is universe, right? And so like that first pen stroke is when like time, quote unquote, starts, right? Because time for me kind of is the book, is the history of man, and it's written by God at the very beginning. And so like that for me is kind of like how I pictured the the beginning per se, and kind of like Genesis 1:1
Interesting.
is, yeah.
John, I got a question for you. Can you measure eternity time wise?
You can measure infinity.
Okay.
So I'm not a mathematician, but there is infinity and then there's completion of infinity. It's like mathematically two different separate things. So like there is
Okay.
infinity and then infinity completed, whatever that
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
that would imply that there's a beginning and the end to an infinity. But
Yeah, that's right. Can we apply this to God, or you think this is just no? This is out of, because I agree
um,
with Adrian. I think he's way out of scope from what
yeah,
we.
yes. So obviously God would be out of the scope. Well, I mean, from my perspective, right?
Yeah.
So so like let's look at the other side of it, right? So let's say that the Big Bang was it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
existence has existed for eternity, right? Well, existence or the universe is finite, right? There's a finite amount of fuel within the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So statistically the chances of us existing while there's still heat and mass moving, completely unlikely. Like the
Yeah.
chances of that are less likely than the Big Bang of happening. Okay, um, so yeah, so the chances that God created everything and has orchestrated it to function in a specific way and then put us within a specific part of that orchestration or organization, I don't know how to say it, makes more sense to me. So, and it's impossible for you to create or build a box if you're building the box around you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't build yourself a room around you without leaving the room, right? Like you have to have access to the outside of the room. So to build a room, you can't exist solely within it. So that means
Mm-hmm.
that there has to be something outside of the universe that God resides in.
Mm.
So that would mean that God is
Interesting.
outside of time and gravity and matter and space.
Okay. Interesting. I agree with the both of you guys. Back to Kyle real quick. Kyle said, "Full disclosure: I went to private Catholic school, K through 12. It made me an atheist. However, I will never discourage anyone's faith. To each their own. I high respect for that, Kyle. We typically have conversations with people that are like you, that are from another background, whether atheist or another religion, and it's more of a fighting stance. I think you're taking a really good stance on this. I appreciate the fact that you're not fighting us, but on the contrary, asking questions and allowing us to voice our opinion without having to go, well, that's you suck and that's wrong. I do want to be curious because my dad was raised the same way. He was raised in a private Catholic school, and his experience was awful with people, and that's the reason why he wasn't religious at all, because people disappointed him from many ways, the leaders, the pastors of the church and stuff. And I do believe with a lot of my friends that were raised either Christian or Catholics, which is my background, being in Mexico, are not Christians or Catholics because of the people that they were involved with. And there's even extreme examples of that where not friends of mine, but friends of friends, right, were abused in the church, right, as kids, right, and things like that. And to blame them to not believe in God, I get it, absolutely get it. I just feel like that is so hard to focus on God when the flesh is in the way, and sometimes that limitation. And I get it, absolutely. You can be traumatized, or you should be traumatized. You should have some kind of PTSD, but that shouldn't take over the fact that you can still search for God in your own way directly with Him. You don't need another person to do so. Church is amazing, but it's full of sinners, hypocrites, scum like me, trash from the earth like me. That you should never. I mean, not because we do this that makes us the experts or God's tool or like God's way to access our relationship with Him or salvation. No, not at all. We're just trying to love you and love other people. So I'll be curious to know as to how your experience was, and maybe because you had a bad experience with people within the school is what made you look elsewhere, or if you genuinely decided that maybe this was impossible and you were atheist. So if you have a chance to answer, that'll be amazing. I'll be kind of curious. Adrian, shoot.
Yeah, so just real quick, Kyle, if you want to, chit chat about this, I was also went to Catholic school 6 through 12, and I graduated, and there was a crossroads in my life where I could have easily gone the path of atheism as well. And I'll tell you right now, I have a much deeper level of faith and a fire about my faith ever since I stopped going to Catholic. I still go to Catholic church, right? My family's still Catholic. We went to Catholic church for Easter, right, on Sunday, right? And that was just out of respect, for them and the what they chose. And so every time we go hang out with my family, we go to a Catholic church because that's what we do. But I, if you want to talk more about it, hit us up on the Discord, or you can, reach out to me on my private text line. Because I grew up that way as well, grew up Catholic, and I would consider myself saved now that I have chosen Christ and instead of the Catholic Church.
Mm. Good point, you guys. Kyle, we'll love to keep hearing from you. You're awesome. Back to our topic of understanding time and God in this sense, right? Really, really important. I think it is critical to, if we don't believe that God falls outside of the rules of physics and our logic and science, I think we already made a humongous mistake. And just to understand His divinity, is one of those things that I don't think we're capable of, to be quite frank. Nor do I think that we were intended to. I think this is more of a thing that not a thing. I don't want to call it a thing. More of a
concept.
Yeah, more of a concept that we intended to enjoy, love, pursue, and then eventually when we get up there to heaven, for those that we chosen to, that's where we will be complete, right? We're a work in progress. That's where we're going to be complete. We're going to be fully able to understand all these things. But to be honest, this is way outside of the scope, in my opinion. Also, mind you guys, another thing that we'll haven't even touched about this, and we kind of need to get moving because this has been a long episode already, is the fact that God uses His word, His spoken word, right? What is that word actually in
Bird?
Hebrews, amar, pretty word to say, right? Literally, answer, a point, about, bit, such, call, certify, challenge, charge, command, commune, consider, declare. It's in a form of speech, right? he literally uses words to create creation, right? And the universe and the planet that we live in and stuff. So that's also important to know. That's why the word was in the beginning, which is really, really important. Hence why we're going, hey, God is outside of the realm of time, but he's also the word. He used word explicitly to create creation, right? So I think we can move on from this, guys, because otherwise we're going to stay here forever. What do you guys think? Should we
I'm
move
done.
on? Okay, we're going to jump to Proverbs, and Kyle, you put up another thing. I'll bring it up here in just one quick second because you're awesome, dude. I'm glad that you're here. Hopefully you're enjoying it and having a conversation. And I invite you, Kyle, if you want to join us to Discord, the link is there, man. Feel free to join us up. We'll love to talk to you after the show too. You can come over and join us for a little bit. We're gonna read Proverbs chapter 8, verse 22. So this is a little bit lengthy of a read through 31st John. So Proverbs 8:22 through 31st. So shoot.
Proverbs 22.
Sorry, 8:22 through 31st.
Oh, Proverbs 8.
I apologize. Yes, I apologize. I said that wrong.
Oh. 8.
It's magic.
22 verse through 32. Okay.
Mhm.
The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his work, the first of his acts of old. Ages ago, I was set up at the first before the beginning of the earth. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no springs abounding with water. Before the mountains had been shaped, before the hills, I was brought forth. Before he had made the earth with its fields, or the first of the dust of the world. When he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep. When he made firm the skies above. When he established the fountains of the deep. When he assigned to the sea its limit, so that the waters might not transgress his command. When he marched out the foundations of the earth. Then I was beside him like a master workman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world, and delighting in the children of man. And now, O sons...
That's it. Incredible passage, you guys. I got a question for all y'all. What is this? Is this a psalmist talking about himself, or this is talking about somebody else? Because this is really important. Do you guys know?
I have no idea.
So this is a psalmist. I don't know who wrote Proverbs 8. I think it was King David. I could be wrong though. Don't quote me on it. Really, really cool to understand two concepts here. Number one, back to your example, actually, John, about the room, right? About how the room, you need to get out of the room to be built. The creation was made almost for us, kind of thing. Because God's design of creation was for us to enjoy it completely. That's why he made the Garden of Eden, and he wanted us to have a grand time with animals and with fruits and good food and chill, and maybe some League of Legends and some Apex Legends with buddies and all this stuff. He had an amazing plan for us. So he built this room literally around us for us, right? It's like, hey, you guys, this is your jam, bro. And I think that's really, really cool because two things are happening here. Number one, according to this, he already knew us. Like he says it over and over. Before this, we were there. Before anything, but I was there. I was part of this. Even before this, I was there. God had me there. It's making sure that you understand that mankind was already predetermined, I guess, before creation. That's the goal, right? That's the ultimate goal. But also, when it says, then I was with him, his master craftsman, his delight, his daily light, continued rejoicing in his presence, rejoicing in his inhabitable world, and taking delight in mankind. That's not a man. That now has to be Jesus, because this is before creation of mankind, as mankind was happening. So that's another really cool concept of Jesus in the flesh, being already with God for creation. And that is something really, really important to understand because the Trinity is such a complicated concept. And the way to prove this is actually found in Genesis, right? In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, right? This is super, super important. Then, right, God says, let us. This is super, super important, right? It doesn't say God said, I will make mankind, right? It doesn't say, he will make mankind, right? It says, let us, plural, make mankind in our image, right? And this is another Bible verse to dissect. We're not going to do that today, but it is super dope how the concept of Trinity was there since the beginning, and that is super cool. Tying it along with what we read from Proverbs, right? Before time was even a thing, before creation and all this stuff, we were already in God's mind predestined to be who we are and what we are, and that is super cool. That again also finds falls outside the concept of time, you know, space, matter, right? That's how powerful and amazing our God is. From the beginning was the Word. I'm going to get back to Kyle because I promised that we will. Kyle says, I really don't want to influence any opinions. I just like to listen to those who have faith. It intrigues me. Good for you, Kyle. Good for you. I have a couple of friends that are atheists and they believe really hard on science. And I love having conversations with them because I also get to learn. I know what's really funny about science? From where I sit, and you boys, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel like science actually proves more and more what has happened in the Bible and a lot of the explanations that God has made for a lot of things, versus trying to get a like science versus God type of fight. I think where science fails is where there are a ton of theories out there, and the fact that people put faith on those theories, and I admire it. To have a faith in a theory, I think it's much harder than to have faith in God, for instance. Evolution, sorry, not evolution. Big Bang is a theory, not a law. Hasn't been proven or anything, and it's been believed for the last, I don't know, however many, 100 years, whatever long. I don't know when Darwin was out here, but people adopt that as a belief, and it's a theory. No one has proved that it's now law. And if you are the people that believe in science, and you're putting your faith on a theory, and you solely believe in it and preach it and you want to teach it and all that stuff, that's pretty impressive. I wish I had the kind of faith that science people have in their belief system like that. That's pretty impressive. So I just want to know that out there, because even in science you require faith. I don't think there's a belief out there that does not require some kind of faith to believe in, unless you're like, I don't believe in absolutely anything and I'm just gonna chill. Which I think, will that make you agnostic, or I don't know the name, agnostic, right? That you just don't believe in anything.
Agnostic is you believe in, you're a theist, but you don't know which being you believe in.
Okay, gotcha. Wouldn't both perspectives be a theory? Absolutely, Kyle. But if you look at statistics of probability, literally math statistics and probabilities of one happening versus the other, and we went over this, by the way, like 30 episodes ago. Literally, it's incomparable. I mean, it's like some mathematician that is not Christian, that is atheist, put this out there. You can probably Google it and find it. The Big Bang theory is probably like 1/1 times 10 to the 96 exponential, and creation is like 1/1 times 10 to the 10th exponential. I mean, it's a bazillion serials differential, which is crazy to me. Now, does that make it something that you should believe in or not? Not really. I'm just saying, the amount of faith that you need to do that is crazy. Sorry, my first time tuning in. No, bro, come on. We love you, bro.
You can never say anything because you genuinely are interacting. There's nothing you can say that's going to make us
for
dislike
sure,
you
bro.
or anything. Like, don't
Yeah,
stress.
for sure, bro.
You are completely entitled to your own beliefs. My belief is that God created you And he wanted you to be able to make your own choices and decide what you wanted to do with your life and what you wanted to believe in.
100%.
So for me to try to take that away from you would be
wrong. Totally wrong.
Completely wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
So you're welcome here. All of your beliefs are welcome. I don't have to agree with your beliefs, but you obviously don't have to agree with mine either. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just talking.
That is so important for people to understand, that we as Christians believe in free will, right? If you don't believe in free will, there's something seriously wrong with you as Christian. And there are Christians out there, by the way, several of them that have an issue with that. I don't. 0 issues. But there's several of them. And if you do happen to get involved with them, you're going to see them a lot more radical in quite a few things. And I'm not about that. We're whatever. But we're all different. It's okay. It's okay to be different. Okay. Hopefully that answered a little bit of that question, Kyle. But let's jump into our last bit that we got to read, because this show, man, this has been a great one, Kyle. You've made this show pretty amazing, Kyle. So thank you for being here. We got to read one more verse in the New Testament, and that is in Ephesians.
Ephesians?
Yeah. Wait, am I on the? Yeah, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 9.
And to bring to light for everyone what is the plan of the mystery hidden for ages in God who created all things.
So this is Paul, right, in the New Testament. Paul, shout out to Paul. Holla at you, Paul. I cannot wait to meet you when I'm in heaven. I want to hang out with you so bad. This is Paul asserting one thing. You know, it's pretty cool. Okay, listen, you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you guys, but I feel this way. Even during that time when Jesus had come in, still, people just had questions, and people were still curious, like we are today. People were still confused and had doubts, like we are today. We just live under different periods, I guess. And it's just so cool for Paul to go and say, "Hey, fellas, we understand that creation is a mystery. We weren't there, but God is behind creation." And dude, I love that, bro. Like, it's one of those things like, hey, man, yeah, we don't have the answers. I don't think we'll ever have the answers until we're in heaven and God explains things. But you know what? What's a fact is that God's been there since forever and will always be there. And he created stuff. So there's that. There's no need to make it more complicated than that. And I love Paul for that, man. He's always like that, dude. He's super direct. No need to, go into circles. Makes it easy. Close on that, boys. Easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah. John or Adrian, I would like you guys to read. We did a little recap for this episode, you guys. So kind of wrap it up. It's in our notes. And so I don't know either one of you guys read much better than I do, but I would like for you guys to read the long sentence that it's in there, one of the two of you, so we can kind of finish with that and maybe add a little bit to it. But who's down for that? We'll be down for that. Adrian, shoot, I see you. You're ready.
I mean, I can read it. Wait, do you want me?
By the beginning.
Yeah. You want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, for sure. Shoot it.
Okay.
These are notes, guys, by the way. This is stuff that we noted that was really important.
Yeah. So a lot of production goes into this show. Like we do some research.
Can't you tell from my dirty dishes?
All 5 minutes of the pre-production. We have a meeting 2 minutes after the show was supposed to go live. A lot of effort goes into this show. So if you like us, make sure you hit that subscribe button or somewhere. Join us on YouTube, whatever. There you go. All right. So by the beginning is here meant the beginning of the world, or the creation of all things, and which is expressive of the eternity of Christ. He was in the beginning as the maker of all creatures, and therefore must be before them all. And it is to be observed that it is said of him that in the beginning he was not made, as the heavens and earth and the things in them were, nor was he merely in the purpose and predestination of God, but really existed as a divine person, as he did from all eternity, as appears from his being set up in office from everlasting, from all the elect being chosen in him, and
Mhm.
given to him before the foundation of the world, from the covenant of grace, which is from eternity,
Amen
being
to
made
grace.
with him,
Mhm.
and from the blessings and promises of grace, being as early put into his hands, and from his nature as God and his relation to his Father. There's
This is
so many
interesting.
grammatical errors in that
Sorry,
passage,
I
but
apologize, dude. Listen, writing is not my forte, you guys. I do all of these notes, put it all together.
every
Terrible.
you just use a period every now and then, leader. Let me
No,
let me
no,
let me
no.
take
It's
a
one.
Run-on
breath as a
sentence.
reader.
It's a one big sentence, bro. It's a one big sentence.
I know. I thought you misspoke. I thought you meant paragraph, but it really just was
It's one
It
giant
sentence.
really is
One sentence.
Yeah.
the longest
I should have. I
run-on
should have.
sentence ever.
I should have asked for you to read it in one breath. Challenge
Oh my goodness, that would have been magnificent. I would have paid money for that.
So anyway, you guys, that's kind of the wrap up for this specific episode. The beginning was the word logos, presence before time, outside of the realm of physics, spoken word as its creation. The beginning said at the time that creation happened, which guys, if you're this is where science comes in. You can tell us when that happened. You can measure when the earth was made, and whatever you say it is, right? If you can prove it with science, I'm not gonna argue. Whereas 6,000, 6,000,000, 6,000,000,000, you guys know numbers. The Bible never says it was created 6 billion years ago. So, but that's the start of time for us as we know it, and that's pretty cool. But God falls outside of that. He's always there. He will always be, and we're grateful to have him. So, those are my final thoughts. You guys got final thoughts for this? Dude, this is a good series. Kyle, you made it so much better too. We're gonna jump into next week because John says these things, right? The word was in the beginning, and the word was with God. That's the next episode, and then the word was God at last episode. So was with God is the next thing. So it's super cool coming up. Any final thoughts for this episode, you guys, or something you guys want to say to Kyle or something? Shoot, John, go for it. Startle. Cut you off guard.
I really I really enjoy like science. I'm not a scientist. I just enjoy it like as a hobby, I guess. I enjoy learning neat things of what people are discovering about existence. And I hear people talk a lot about how Jesus or Yahweh is the God of the gaps, right? So as science discovers things, we just like will move God around to like the parts that we haven't discovered about, right? And that's where he resides in the places that we haven't discovered yet. And I think something that might be interesting to think about, and I say this because partly because Kyle's here, but is if there was a being that was able to create not just or like manipulate physics, but create information physics at the very base of existence, right? Like if you tracked everything back to the beginning of the Big Bang, right? Like not just like the variables and just like the concept of variables and everything within it, right? Like he only has to create the fundamental processes of existence and then just start the process. And as soon as the process starts, it's just a domino effect of existence happening the way he's orchestrated it to happen. And so I think that's the God that I worship. The God I worship is the one that has such insane ability to process information and think and plan things out that he was able to create the basis of math and physics and gravity and the concepts under them and the underlying math and everything behind it, start the domino effect, and then just let it all happen, right? And so I think that's the coolest thing ever. I think that until we discover the beginning of everything and the universal, like the science of everything, right? We're never truly going to see where God resides, because eventually we'll get to the point where we get to the beginning of where we can stop. We can't gather any more information. And that's where God is at. God is right on the other side of that precipice of that first domino. So I think
Dude, you said it so
about.
well. I'm into that. Adrian, final thoughts, baby. What you got?
I just want to, again, thank Kyle for being on the show, and
Yeah, for
thank you
sure.
for your questions again. And as a fellow ex-Catholic, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime or to any of us. And then I guess just I don't really have anything like specific about what we talked about today, but it is nice to kind of go a little bit more theological, and because like I love when we put things into modern perspective. You know, when we talk about love, relationships, and all that stuff, and I'm all for it. But I also get really hyped whenever we get theological, and I'm just really hyped for the series that we're doing.
It's about time, right, that we jump into a little bit more of let's dive into a little topic that's a little more theological. You got to dive into the word and kind of understand it a little bit more in that way. It's totally different than what we've been doing for the last probably year, which is pretty cool. I agree with you. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Kyle, we're about to jump into the Discord. Feel free to come over with us if you want to. We're about to pray and chill out there for a little bit. So, to everybody, John is fervently typing on the Discord. If you're already in Discord,
Oh no, I did something wrong.
What did you do?
I don't know. I pushed something and things started changing and moving around.
Yeah,
Maybe I
too
should do
fervently, I guess.
Too fervent. Fervante.
We're gonna be right there, so feel free to join us, you guys over there. And we're gonna be there in the voice channel. We're gonna be praying a little bit. Again, shout out to you, Kyle. Kyle, you're amazing. Hopefully, we see you next week. Bring some more questions. Be ready to ask some more away. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to everybody else everyone else that was here. We absolutely love you guys. We can't wait to see you guys, God permitting, next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is Leader the Only One, John's Fumbly, Adrian Indelos, and we will see you next Wednesday.
The Bible Talk Wednesday.
This is Bible Talk. With your host, Leader the Only One.
Your first loser.
I am closer to be better, to be the best, okay? So cut me some slack.
John's Fumbly.
Boba Fett. Attack mode.
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode.
Yep,
Attack mode.
yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
I'm a man. I fix things, cook barbecue, and fix things.
This is Bible Talk.